What's going on, all you hip-hop heads? It's your boy B here. We got a new segment going on. I know this is kind of weird. You see this coming out of the blue. It's happening on Friday now, and you're like, well, what's going on? This is an interview segment. If you've watched my last interview, I had an interview with Xavier Georgia, also known as Zay Zay. This is his producer, Juice, and I'm going to let him introduce himself. So at the end of this interview, I would highly suggest you go check him out, check out Zay Zay, check all of their shit, and just, support him. So go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Hey everybody, my name is Christian Clutter, aka Juice, and I've been producing hip-hop since about the 8th grade. When I was 15, I first started. And I'm 18 now in the 11th grade, and up until recently, I wasn't able to find anybody to work with, so it was kind of hard to put together something that was, presentable. I was always just sitting in my computer room, just making beats for no reason other than just to, have fun. There wasn't really anybody listening to my stuff until just recently. And I first heard Zay Zay's stuff in the 9th grade. I downloaded one of the songs onto my phone. It was called Lean With It. It was a remix to a song by Meek Mill. And I remember I loved it so much, but I was never able to get a hold of him until I moved over here. And I just never bothered to until a year after that. And I hit him up one day, and we decided to put together a mixtape after we got two songs done. After we got 2 songs out of the way, we just decided, hey, let's go ahead and make a full mixtape, and boom.
Right, man. Yeah, it's crazy how stuff works sometimes. Big thing in the hip-hop community is trying to find the proper connections to build yourself.
Right.
Another thing is actually getting out there, which is why I encourage all of you to listen in to Massive EXT. I think that the most unique thing that Massive brings to the public is just underground artists that you've never heard of, and taking this unexposed talent and exposing it to the world and allowing them to actually listen in. And it's not the same shit that you hear on the radio. It's not some mainstream shit that's constantly being replayed like some rerun Andy Griffith shit. It's raw talent, and it's people taking their emotion and putting it out on the line.
Yeah,
with that,
sorry about that.
No, it's cool, man. With that out of the way, I guess I'll get into the questions and shit, man, and we'll get it going. So, my first question is as you said, you've been producing for a pretty long time. You've always had a knack for beats. What would you say your biggest inspiration is as a producer of who you kind of like, who got you into beat making and producing audio and stuff?
When I first started, I really didn't know what the hell I was doing. What really started it was I kind of just figured out how to pirate things off of Pirate Bay, and I saw this software on there called FL Studio, and I was like, heck yeah, man. A few $100 software for free? Yeah, I'm going to take that. So I went ahead and tried out my pirating skills, which isn't really that hard. I just thought it was at the time because I've never done it before. And then I just sat there and messed around with it a bit. And I kind of liked it. Like, I didn't really know what it was until after I used it a few times. And it was crazy. After that, I started figuring out exactly what hip-hop producing is. And I really got into it. I didn't really go into it with big old inspirations like, hey, I'm going to be like this guy or that guy. No, I just did it for fun.
Who would you say, like, since you said, you don't want to be like this guy, that guy, if you had to do like a collaboration beat, who would be the producer to collab with?
A guy named DJ Payne. You might have heard of him a few times. I don't know. He's just another underground producer that I recently just discovered on the interwebs. There's not much else. I mean,
that's pretty. Yeah, man. No, I mean that's pretty cool. Personally, I'm probably gonna get like bum rush for this or something, but I ain't heard of DJ Payne. I will check him out though, and listen to his sounds and peep him and see what the what the hype's about and all that.
Well,
there's
one thing I want to say
ahead.
before we go on. Like, I really haven't been doing this for too long. Like, yeah, I have been making beats for a while, but I haven't been out there and networking with so many people as I am now. So there's a lot of big names out there that I don't know in the business. Like, I need to educate myself a little bit, which is why I didn't have too many answers to that question. But go ahead.
Oh, no. It's totally fine, man. That's cool. There's nothing wrong as long as you just love doing what you do. You know what I mean? That's the whole meaning of music. To me, music's an art, but at the same time, it's a profession. You just have to find the line sometimes to yourself on when the art becomes the profession.
Yeah.
So my next question is you've been producing a little bit. Have you ever created like a beat tape or anything like that? Anything on a large scale like that?
Actually, in the 9th grade, I got kind of bored. So what I did was I took a bunch of blank CDs, and I was doing like electronic music at the time. Like, I was trying to do hip hop, but it kind of came out like electronic music. It was really weird stuff, kind of like really, really, really bad dubstep. But I put together a 8-track CD, and I started selling it around school. And I made about $50 off that CD. That was the first CD I ever made. And Singularity, the Singularity mixtape that I'm doing with Zay Zay, that'll be my first hip-hop tape.
All right, so yeah, and in the interview, Zay Zay mentioned Singularity. I don't know, I can't remember if he released a date. I think he said he was going to get back to me on when the actual due date is, when it's expected to be by.
It's kind
of go ahead.
It's kind of funny because, well, when we first started doing this is our first time doing this, both of us, and we didn't really know how to set up a timetable for it. So when I first came up with the due date, I said the 1st January, because, new year, new mixtape, all that jazz. Well, he said it was too small of a time frame to work in. So he made up, he decided that we were going to do it towards Valentine's Day. But it hasn't worked out because both of us have really different styles. Like, he's a lot more aggressive with his stuff, and I'm kind of into the laid back stuff. And when you put together two artists like that, it's really hard to cooperate, but we're making it work.
Right. And not only as a producer, but are you a rapper as well? Do you sing? Is there other fields of music that you participate in?
Not a lot, because I have a very corny voice, but I feel like I have a good writing style. So whenever I'm making a beat and I want to lay down a rhythm, I'll lay down a random rhythm, and I'll try to write to that to make sure I got a good rhythm down to write to for whoever wants to work on this specific song. And that's the only kind of rapping that I really do, just writing and making sure I got the good rhythm. I do play a little bit of guitar and piano, but I'm not as good as those. I'm not as good at those as I am with producing
music and stuff. Yeah, that's another important thing is, trying to find, you were mentioning how you on 2 different wavelengths, you and Zay Zay, just trying to find a common ground between, aggressive style and laid back style, and then making it not only sound good, but fuse well together. Another important aspect is also, as you said, being able to play piano, being able to play guitar.
Yeah.
It goes well into being able to produce, because you can get a more live sounding beat than something that's electronically generated or it's coming off software.
Yeah, you really need to try to pick up an actual instrument before you go and start producing hip hop, because it really helps to have a good music theory if you're going to produce hip hop beats.
Oh, well, that brings me to my next question. For people, like you said, you started off at a relatively young age, moving on to, wanting to produce hip-hop, wanting to produce music in some way, regardless whether it was, as you say, failed dubstep or crappy dubstep or whatever, to hip-hop music. What would you say to people who are wanting to get started in something as, like beat making or hip hop music? Just the beat aspect, just the producing aspect, not the actual rapping and singing and stuff like that.
The only advice that I have to give to people like me is, well, if you're going to get into an art of any form, whether it be hip hop or any genre of music whatsoever, or even another form of art like finger painting or whatever, the first thing you need to realize is this is art. It's not a job. You cannot let money blind you, and you cannot go into it thinking that you're going to make a lot of money and have that be your only motivation, because that's not where true art comes from. True art comes from the heart, and that's the only way that it's going to be appealing to anybody. The whole point of art itself is to influence people and inspire people, and you really can't achieve that if all you're looking at is the money aspect or anything of the sort. Sorry, I'm getting out of breath.
No, I totally understand. And I agree that to a certain point, to a certain degree, that hip-hop is mainly an art form. Personally, I would have to say that at the same time as it is being presented as an art, at the same time that it is an art, it is also a profession, kind of like the reason why we call it the game.
Yeah.
The reason why we call it the business, the industry, because hip-hop is no longer just an art form. You know what I mean? It's no longer just art. It has become commercialized. It has become an endorsement. It is no longer just people rapping anymore. It's not hidden. It's not underground. It's in very plain sight. People who make millions of dollars off of it is sponsored this. So when you're looking at hip-hop, as I do agree that you shouldn't let money blind you, you should also keep note that at a certain point in your career, at a certain pinnacle of your career, you really have to change from, okay, this is just me expressing myself, to, okay, this is me providing to the public. And I'm not saying you should remove the piece of yourself to provide to the public. That's what most artists do when they get to that pinnacle of their career. They remove that special piece that made their music what it was. I feel like they forget that formula.
Yeah.
But you should know that with if you had 1 million fans, that you just can't stress, storytelling in every single track. You have to mix it up sometimes. You have to give something to the fans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to give them something they like too. Even though it's a part of you. You could put a part of you in that, but you have to give them something they like too. And I'm not saying that you should totally be like, I hate rap or I hate this track. You can make it fun. You can make it fun giving something to somebody else. But it's just, as I do agree that there is, hip-hop art and then hip-hop the profession. You have to know where the line is, and you have to know how to combine that,
a lot of that
to make it a career.
A lot of that has to do with an artist's personal preferences. Like, some people go in and they do want to make art, or some people go in and they want this to be a job. But a lot of what determines where you go in this industry is what your reason is behind it. And I feel like I have more of the, I have a lot more of the hobby personality when I come at this, although I am trying to save up for a few things I need in the meantime. But I mainly don't really draw up any plans to make it big. I mean, you look at Zay and he's working with all these different artists, and he's getting signed and all that, and all that's great. Like, congratulations to him and all that, but me and him, I'm not like that, you know? Like, my goal is not to get signed.
No, I mean, I can understand. As you said, there is a preference in hip-hop. I'm just saying, as a hip-hop artist, right? As a hip-hop artist, I feel like sometimes it has to be known.
Yeah.
That hip-hop is no longer just art anymore. That is no longer just art anymore. And that if you can do two things. You can take your art form very seriously and make it professional, right? Like you would do a resume, like you would do in a job interview, like you would do anything. Make it a job, but not the kind of job that comes to everybody's mind when they hear job, the going in 24/7, stressed out of your mind and shit. You can make it a fun job. It's just that there is a very professional side of hip-hop.
Yeah.
If you really are looking for the money aspect.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, as I said about the line, is that if you're going to do hip-hop as an art, and you love hip-hop as an art, then keep hip-hop as an art. But if you want to keep hip-hop as an art, and then move on to be make money, you're going to have to realize that that whole art side is going to have to be fused into a very professional presented you're just going to have to fuse business and art.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to fuse business and art. It is really hard, but it's manageable. You can do it. It's a lot more easier said than done, like saying people should talk about their lives more. People should do this. It's hard because you get to a point where talking about your life just becomes the mainstream thing. You know what I mean? Like, mainstream artist who talks about sex and drugs, and people say, well, he should storytell more. He is. That's all he lives, because he's gotten to that point in his life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's fucking bitches and doing Molly. That's his life. And you don't like it, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's why I said, sometimes you have to give something to the fans and give a little leeway. Make a song that has nothing to do with you sometimes. Make a song about people who are hurt or people who are happy. Even if you're sad, make a song about people who are happy, because it shows to the fans that you care about their ideas, and it can create a bigger pool of fans.
Yeah.
But as I agree that if you're going to do hip hop as an art, then you should obviously, try to keep it as an art, because moving over, if you're going to cross over, it is a lot harder to keep and tell to yourself, and it's so hard to keep it down to earth and raw.
Yeah.
Because people are wanting so much, and you have to do so much. When you get to the point where you have to go on tour 24/7, or have to go to a show and have to listen to whoever's signing your checks, if you ain't signing your checks, you know what I mean? You just don't sell out.
Yeah, and like
is the basic is what I'm saying. Just don't sell out. Put that piece of you in every track. And if it gets to the point where you can't put that piece of you in every track, then you just don't need to be doing it anymore.
Yeah.
Because then what's the point in doing something that's just going to forever make you unhappy? Because if you can't sense that pride and happiness in the track no more, and people won't sense that. They won't sense that you enjoy what you do.
Yeah.
Once it becomes a product for you, it'll become a product for them. It's no longer a painting, it's a G.I. Joe. It's something they've seen before. It's like taking something and just outlining it and being like, that's my art. It's not the same, because you didn't create it from your heart. It's not from scratch.
Yeah.
I agree. The other question that I had is, if there is something, I ask this to most people, if there was something in the hip-hop game that you could change currently, you had the power to change anything, bend any rule, do anything, what would it be?
Let me think about that for a sec. I gotta digest that thought. you said something about how, like, artists that are way up there and, you know, like, living the good life, they rap a lot about the same things all the time, like beautiful women or expensive drugs or something like that. Well, the thing that they kind of forget is they are putting out a message into the media, and a lot of young people pick up on that message, and I don't feel like you should make hip-hop into something that influences the nation's youth into making bad decisions. Now, granted, when you make that statement, you kind of ignore the fact that every teenager out there does have some sort of reasoning capability at that age. But there are some kids who don't, and there are some kids who don't have good role models to follow. So they follow you, and they follow the message you put out into the world. And it's really, really messed up to see all these dumb freaking kids going out there sagging their pants, looking like freaking idiots. And it's just a waste, you know? It's a waste of good talent, and it's a waste of opportunity, because you could use that opportunity to do a lot more than just pollute the minds of the nation's youth.
I think it's said best as this. Certain people are going to be certain role models. They're going to present a certain image. Now, if that image is bad, regardless of what people think, does that make him a bad person? I don't know. I would have no idea. I have no idea what that person does behind closed curtains. I have no idea what his family life is like. The image that he produces, you're right at a certain, you know, in a certain degree. Kids will follow that image. But the image that should be produced is not somebody that seems satire and fake. It's somebody that's real. Now, if the life that somebody who is real, that they're living currently, is bad, drugs involved, shit's bad, they rap about it. I mean, it's some raw shit. They're talking about how not good it is, but bad it is. And kids still follow that blindly. Kids still follow that blindly, thinking it's a good thing when the message was misrepresented. I think it's kind of fucked up that would fall back on that role model. That being said, I can agree that certain people use these satire images and lead the youth into believing this for profit. They take this image, knowing they're doing these things for bigger profit, because it leaves people talking. Is it right? Is it wrong? You know? We're talking. And I think that's wrong. But the message that I said, or not the message that I said, what I said and what I meant was that when people, specific people, a fan base, ask the artist to tell his life, and he says, I fuck women, I do drugs, this is my life, I don't think if people ask for something, then it shouldn't fall back on, you know, that person specifically. But I don't think it's right if another artist, like say Wayne or somebody comes out and says that killing somebody is awesome or something. That's not cool, obviously. You know,
there is a fine line. I mean, like, I do get what you're saying, and I agree with you 100%, but I don't know.
Basically what I meant is, and I'm not saying that I agree with any artists out there who are just leading people by the fucking collars and shit. You know, I don't believe in that. Yes. That's not me. What I'm saying is I don't think that these people, I think that they're just, I don't think they understand exactly how much control and power is within their hands. I think they have an idea of how much it is, but I don't really think they fully fathom the idea. And I think at times people in general just get blinded. You know, they get blinded by things. Does that mean they shouldn't be held accountable? That's not my business to say. I quite frankly, I'm just like, these dudes are stupid, fuck it. But the point is that it's not that I like these people. It's that it just should be known to any artist coming in. This is what the state of the game is in right now.
Yeah.
And if you want to make it big, they're going to ask two things of you. They're either going to ask you to commercialize yourself, or they're going to ask you to ruin your reputation. And by doing that, by ruining your reputation, I mean not doing some crazy Miley Cyrus bullshit. I mean actually like making yourself more appealing to people.
Yeah, like there's this effect that you can have on people when you put out a controversial message. Like, if you put out something that's very controversial and challenges the culture and the morals of the community that you're putting that message out to, it really has a profound effect on how much attention you get. Right.
And I mean, at the same time of like controversial messages and people putting out shit about killing and shit, it's more of a, to me, it's more of just something that just kind of makes you question shit. Basically, it's mind-blowing how much power hip-hop has come to now. And I think it's weird how, like, to me, I think it's kind of crazy how, like, the whole time Eminem's whole shtick was rapping about killing Kim and throwing her in the trunk and all that shit. And I don't know if kids today just find a thug image more easy and appealing to follow than some dude who's putting his wife in the back of the trunk. I'm just saying, it's weird. You know what I mean? I just think that rappers are just expressing themselves. They don't mean it literally. You know what I mean? They're just like this, and this. They just want to either make a catchy song, or they're just expressing themselves, and it just, shit happens, and it just goes down the fucking drain. You know what I mean? Well, and I feel like it's hard for a rapper at that point to express themselves without having some type of consequence to that expression. So that's why I kind of relate to these dudes who, and I'm not talking about 2 Chainz or anything like that. I'm saying like dudes who are also underground artists who are at a certain, fan base point in their career where if they say something that's just a figurative statement or metaphorical statement or completely false, it's taken as literal, and, it's just reasoning. You know what I mean? I think that there should just be more reasoning in general, not just in hip-hop and education, and everything. Like, there should be a class on critical fucking thinking, I guess. Just sit these people down and be like, left is left, right is right. Like, because the fact is that these rappers aren't being literal. Some are just talking about shooting people. I don't know. But some are just being, they're just expressing themselves, and they use rhymes, and sometimes when they rhyme a word and it strings together and it comes out with this really fucked up image, they're like, well, it was just in character. You know what I mean? It was just a character. Yeah. It's not real. And I feel like if we're to censor that, then there would be this mass censorship on acting, on movies, on everything. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't regulate it. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of fucking censorship that we'd have to pass around. You know what I mean? Because you'd have to censorship anything that a kid could follow as a role model, and some things that are presented in character, like a fucked up movie or something like that, we couldn't even present. And even if it was a good movie, it doesn't matter, because people would maybe take it too literal. That's just what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, an image is self-described, and you can look at basically anything and perceive it any way you want to, but someone else is going to come along and perceive it a different way than you, because we all see things differently. And some people are going to take what artists like Eminem or Lil Wayne put out into the public, and they're going to either get a bad message from it, or they can take it into a figurative term and get a good image from it. It all depends on the person. But at the same time, if that's all that they're making art about, do they not have any imagination whatsoever other than the stuff that's going on around them? I mean, do they really need to air that out to the public? Do they not have anything else to put out going on in their head, you know?
No, and I totally understand, which is why I said, you know, you don't have to make every track just a rerun of the last one. You know what I mean? Like, I agree with you. I feel like that mainstream artists have just lost what they needed to talk about. They can make anything, and it'd be the new fucking shit. Could make a song about cooking in the kitchen with toast and eating Frosted Flakes, and it would be the biggest thing out there.
I'm in love with the Coke, though.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like that. That's obviously a great image for somebody who's listening to the song. But again, I feel like we just shouldn't treat the public immediately as, you know, they have no reasoning whatsoever, is what I'm saying. Like, I don't think every artist should stop doing what they're doing. I just think that, like you said, they could use a little bit of creativity. You know what I mean? Like, don't make every song about putting a stripper in the back of your trunk. That'd be nice. You know, I understand you like big butts and putting money in it, and you like snorting cocaine, but if you could just, I'm not saying you have to make a Teletubbies theme song. I'm just saying if you could make a song, you know, that, I don't know, talked about real issues that you have in your life. Like, everybody has some type of fucking conflict, you know, they have. Sometimes they get sad, sometimes they get depressed. Like, that would be cool, because that's fucking relatable, right? Like, yeah. I mean, it's hard when you're rich, because you don't have electric bill to pay or anything like that, but you could be like, since I got rich, my family's falling apart, or something like that, or since I got rich, people don't look at me the same, you know what I mean? And I think people would relate to that more. I just feel like it's hard to be relatable, like when you're just releasing the same track over and over again. Once it's presented as a product, people will accept it as a product, and they'll no longer accept it as art. And the difference between a product and art, or product with art, is that it has a piece of yourself that people can connect to from themselves. Like,
and
listening to older artists like Big Pun, I get this image, you know, of my childhood, or I get this image of, not like memories, but like just the song itself reminds me of my own memories, not memories of listening to the song, just of my own memories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And makes me, sometimes I'll listen to an underground artist and I'll be like bobbing my head and I'll be like, damn, I feel that. You know? I feel what he's talking about. Some time or some place at some time, at some point in my life, I felt that kind of pain, or I feel a half percent, like 25% of that kind of pain. You know, you don't have to be in their shoes to understand them.
Yeah.
I understand, man. I understand you. We got each other. I got you. I got you. But it's hard. It's hard out here for artists. It's just as hard out here for producers like you. Only you got the easier job, I think, because you don't have to worry about making a controversial beat. Unless it's Yeezus. Then please God, do not make Yeezus.
A lot of people complain when an artist's work changes over time as he ages and as he wisens up and his personality changes, and in turn his music changes as well. A lot of people complain that he's a sellout. They automatically assume that he's a sellout to the ideas around him. Well, no, maybe he just changed as a person. And sometimes it's even a good thing, because the new album by Ghostface Killer that came out in 2014, 36 Seasons, some of the best work by Wu-Tang I've ever heard.
Right, man. And yeah, you're right. Sometimes change is a good thing. Sometimes it's bad. It all depends on, I guess, the environment that the rapper's currently in. I'm gonna have to wrap this up. It's getting kind of long, man. It's been great talking to you. I'm sorry if I've been rambling your head off. You're a very wise dude.
You too.
Y'all go support Juice. Y'all go support Zay Zay. And be sure to support Singularity when it first comes out. The beats and music that you've been listening to during this interview is by him. Dude's great. If you have any shout-outs you want to give, man, you go right ahead.
Mainly just my family and friends and people I grew up with. I mean, they've all seen different sides of me over the years, and I feel like I'm the best person I've ever been these days. I've been a whole lot worse, but I want to thank all the people right now that stuck with me over the years, even though I made some bad decisions, and I love all of you. Thank you.
All right, man. Well, I'll see you later. Hope you're good. Bless, dude.
See ya.